Sunday morning. And before we go anywhere else, I just wanted to say a rowdy hello and happy birthday to Donald J. Trump, the Kennedy Center. I looked at the most recent pictures. I love what you've done with it. Uh, yeah, don't choke your coffee there, Karen. Uh, it's a fun day out here. Spring is in the air. It's coming or going, actually. That's the right word. And unless you're in Seattle, then it's like spring, 7 months a year. Um, Everything grows all the time. But anyway, we're here Beekeep Sunday morning, and while I'll tell you all the good stuff happening after when we get down to the last 5 minutes, that's where I get to cram it all in. In the meantime, I'm going to turn this all over to Tom and Karen, and they're going to tell us what's going on in the world.
And it's going to be mostly Karen this morning because she's brought her old friend Clark Humphrey.
Yes, I've brought Clark on to talk with you folks at V Cubed Press, and I'll tell you why. Clark has been covering the news in Seattle for about as long as I can remember. He's been associated with all kinds of publications, hyper local, small ones, notorious ones, and he has outlived most of them. And he started about 40 years ago his own newsletter that I read every morning called Misc Media. And a few years ago, he put out a book called Miscosity, which is aimed at helping us all get through the really extraordinarily difficult times that we live in. So I wanted to have him on today so he could talk with us. First, we're going to talk about local journalism and where it's come from and where we think it's going. And then we're going to talk about the book Miscosity. So we're going to talk a little bit about local journalism. And Clark, tell us a little bit how you got started as a reporter and an editor, and when.
Well, I was a journalism major at the U. I foolishly thought that would be a day job career that would support me. Little did I know. And I became editor of the UW Daily in 1980. After that, I've just wandered around doing tiny zines, neighborhood newspapers like the old Capitol Hill Times. And I I did page layout at the Auto Trader magazines back when they were still in print. And I spent 2 years at Fantagraphics Books and 7 years at the early version of The Stranger.
Is The Stranger is still around, albeit in an incredibly different format now.
Yes, it comes out in print once a month now.
Wow. Journalism really has changed.
Yes.
Yeah. It was preceded by a Portland paper also called The Stranger, which has no relation to it.
The Portland version is the Portland Mercury.
No, Portland had a zine called The Stranger in 1971 or so. Edited by a fellow named Mike Zaharakis.
Mm-hmm. This is Tom's book dealer personality coming out. Yes. He knows about every tiny zine that ever existed.
No, I don't. I know about many of them, but not all of them.
Yes.
Well, during the time that I've known Clark, we've seen the Seattle journalism scene shrink dramatically.
Yes.
There used to be 2 daily papers. Now there's one. Well, there's one which started to run out of paper last week and actually physically shrunk itself till it could find more paper, which is a really scary thought.
And today they announced that they have found more paper and it is back to its old size.
Yeah.
Well, not its original old size, but yes. Yeah. But the point being that journalism has changed a lot. So, Clark, what moved you to start Misc Media? And what Clark does with Misc Media is really mind-boggling if you've ever worked in a news environment. He surveys every publication that's going on in Seattle, including the TV stations and the radio station, some of them, and puts it all together in a news briefing for us. Why did you decide to do that?
Okay. Yeah. The current format has been around for 11 years. And I basically realized that there was no clear central source for all these stories. No local media outlet was saying everything. And it was all scattered amongst all these different papers, stations, and online places. So it's a clearinghouse, a bulletin board, a post, as it were.
So when I've looked at a lot of your early journalism from, say, the
Yes.
Stranger Days, you were known for just being incredibly aggressively opinionated about things.
Yes.
And yet, when you do mixed media, you're incredibly even-handed.
Mhm.
You usually have a little opinion piece up at the top, but
Yes.
everything else is like you would not feel a particular slant to the news. It's a real guide to what's going on in Seattle and the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
long does it take you to pull all this together? I have this
Oh.
vision of you working 24 hours a day.
More like 2 or 3 hours. But,
How do you do all the TV and radio stuff?
basically, I have a lot of feeds. I have an RSS. I have Blue Sky and the former Twitter. And then there are a few sources that I just regularly look up by themselves.
And I should add that it is in my own background in journalism, I occasionally worked as the entertainment editor of a small publication. And it involved dealing with all of these local art galleries and rock and roll places and nightclubs. And you have an incredible listing of lectures and events. And do you have like a database system for tracking all of that?
I have a Facebook no, I have a web browser list of sources for that.
Okay. And
It's
you
about
just check
20
it.
places. Yeah. That takes several hours a week by itself.
So people have to be now wondering, okay, how does the guy make money off of this? How do you make money off of this?
Well,
you don't?
Well, a small amount.
I'm one of Clark's early subscribers, and I told him I think he needs to charge me more. I'm serious. I think you do need to do like a Patreon thing.
Okay. I have a Patreon thing. I just haven't publicized it. I haven't publicized it very well. I know. I should.
You obviously don't have a marketing department.
I wish I did.
You could hire Karen.
Yeah, really. I'm cheap. Question. You've been doing this for 40 years, 11 years online. Are there other cities in which people like you are doing things like this daily aggregation of everything that's going on?
I have looked, and I haven't seen any. I have seen, I have seen things that come close, like I think the Philadelphia PBS station has a thing called Billy Penn that does some news aggregating.
Okay. So in the past several years, quite a few years, Seattle has had a various attempts to do local online media. And one of them, this is more for our national audience. One of
International.
one of them is hugely successful, the West Seattle blog. And the other ones have been kind of anemic and very hit or miss. Ballard has a Ballard blog that you probably look at. And ironically, there is also, Clark, are you familiar with someone named Laurie Miller, the Ballard? She was the Ballard blogger.
No.
Laura, okay, I will digress. Laurie Miller lived in Ballard, and she lives with a police scanner going all the time. And if she sees a big incident, she then follows up on it by talking locally, and everyone knows Laurie. So they think, I'm across the street from this. There's a helicopter. Laurie moved to Capitol Hill, and here's the amusing part of it. She still does the Ballard police report for all of us and is really amazingly good in it. But it's local journalism is a passion, not really a business, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Alas. So, yeah, you know, what was the original? Yeah.
Well, I digress terribly there. As journalism has become more and more anemic, the large newspapers and stuff, they don't have local reporters in the communities. They will follow an incident in a community, but then not do any follow up about what has happened.
Right.
Where is journalism going? Are newspapers ever going to come back in the sense of covering what's going on locally?
Oh, I sometimes have dreams about a print periodical revival, that it will be, the next vinyl revival. But
An interesting comparison.
But as for reality, basically we need a new online model. We need to, how do we say it, break up the internet ad duopolies.
It's interesting to me because there's a move away from social media back to blogging and individual smaller things, because social media has become so hostile to the reader. It's hard to find things.
Yes, well, yeah, algorithms they're not here for us. They're here for the social media companies. And now, Cory Doctorow talks about that in his book, Enshittification. The tech giants aren't working for us. They're working for them.
It's an underlying theme in your Viscosity Manifesto also. That the algorithms are very much designed to extract value rather than create value.
Yeah.
Clark, have you seen an uptick in subscriptions to Misc Media as the social media has become more unpleasant to deal with? Do you think people are more interested in getting newsletters?
I really hope so. I haven't seen a major uptick yet, but then again, I'm a lousy marketer.
I'm hoping that this will help distribute.
Right.
Yeah, it's
all of you people listening may want to go check it out and see what's going on with this. And if you like it, tell your friends.
Yeah, if you live in the Seattle area, the Misc Media newsletter is absolutely indispensable. You could start with it every morning, and it gives you a guide to everything that is going on in town. I often do my weekend by looking at what Clark has got listed as the lectures and the performances and stuff. And I have to admit that I do look at the news section because I don't watch TV news. And you will highlight stuff that are big stories in the TV news, which and can be interesting in terms of explaining why you couldn't drive down the highway the night before because the police were chasing 25 drag racers. Which
even if you don't live in the Seattle area, it's an interesting thing to go look at because it gives a perspective on what you're not seeing in your own area. It allows you to get a sense of, wait a minute, all of this stuff is going on in Seattle. what's going on here.
Yes.
And with any luck, we can spark some people to start doing this for their own cities.
Clark, I have a weird question. Have you ever had a journalism student or communication studies student do a project on your newsletter, on local journalism in your newsletter?
Not that I know of.
Wow. Because that would certainly be useful and inspirational for people. Have you ever written a guide to how to do something like Mist Media?
No, I have. I just sort of figured it out myself. I didn't put it down in a lesson plan.
Because I'm actually wondering if that's a template. I'm from a traditional journalism background, and I was back at Columbia last year while the campus was on lockdown. And one of the things we talked about was a group of 5 graduates in my age group were living in Asheville, North Carolina, and they decided to start a local news operation. And they're 5 retirees who spent their years in the dying journalism industry, and they decided to do something local. But that was the only group from Columbia that I know of that has focused on a local perspective.
No.
You're making me realize that somebody has to write a book on local journalism, what exists now and what could exist.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Too many people talking about the future of news only think about the New York Times.
The future of news at a large scale is kind of grim right now.
Someone in the comments said it was the newspaper chains that destroyed local journalism. I will say it's bigger than that. It's the collapse of newspaper advertising, which used to pay for all of this.
Why did newspaper advertising collapse?
It's one of the diseconomies of scale.
Yeah. First, classifieds all went online, and that was like half of newspapers' profit center right there. And then, and then online ads became monopolized by the social media giants and the search engines.
In the same way that Amazon was attempting to monopolize retail.
Yeah.
And there's now a rise of smaller stores and people wanting to buy local. And the question is whether we can work something like that into happening with news. Get away from the idea that the profit is the only thing that people are looking for, which is what you've done, and build something where we're interested in thinking locally.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something weird. The classified section has come roaring back at the Seattle Times.
Really?
There's lots of classifieds. I'm now seeing 4 or 5 pages of classifieds, whereas 2 years ago there was nothing. I don't know why that is. I was reflecting that the weekly newspapers in Seattle, one of which was called The Weekly, and then its more punk version, The Stranger, used to really run on personal ads and dating ads. And when that went online, that really undermined their classified section. Because the whole Seattle social scene when I was 35 years old ran on the weekly dating ads.
Yes. I remember placing one, and problem was my mindset was completely removed from the Seattle Weekly's target market, which was square baby boomers.
That's true. Yes, you're just a few years. It's really interesting. So I'm Generation Jones, which is
So am I. Or
you're
to
the punk end of it, and I'm to the boomer end of it.
Yeah, or to quote the the great Richard Hell and the Voidoids, I belong to the blank generation that I can take it or leave it each time.
Yes. I'm at the end where I did weekly ads and I kept dating guys who later became very famous in the software field, which was always quite, I met these people who were starting out in software. None of them
Yes.
clicked for me, but who I later saw as owning interesting companies. But yes, I never did online dating, and I know there's a whole world out there of that, and that's where all of the newspaper ads went to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I still get a newspaper. I still get the Seattle Times, and there's something to me about physically handling a paper. Oh yes, there's something about physically dealing with the paper and sitting there at breakfast and reading it. Clark, do you have, I should have looked this up. Do you have any feeling for the degree to which people have stopped the numbers for how many people still get a physical newspaper?
The Seattle Times a couple months ago said that its print circulation was 110,000 Sunday, 60,000 daily.
Nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah. At one point, they were doing 240,000 daily and maybe twice that Sunday.
Wow. Because the experience, I love the experience of reading the newspaper because
Yes.
I encounter articles I would never have looked for online.
Yeah.
And because it's like the difference between walking through a library or walking through a bookstore or just going online and ordering a book. It's really, you really run into other stuff. And I feel as though I'm astonished when I will mention a major news story to someone I'm working with and they've never heard of it. And yet I'm seeing it in the paper every day and like, oh no, I don't get the paper. I don't know anything about this.
And then there are the online summaries like the New York Times does with the morning and the evening, or the Guardian, where you can see snippets of a lot more different things. That has the browsing capability. In a way, it's an aggregator like Clark is doing.
Yeah.
But then you go to click through and you know, that's the whole problem about aggregation. You go to click through and you get to a subscription paywall. And and
the thing is, Americans have never really paid for journalism as consumers. Yeah. The newspapers and magazines were subsidized by ads. And now the ads are gone.
Yeah. Interesting.
People have managed to commodify the ads in a way where the ads are self-sustaining. You know, the newspapers used to be a necessary wraparound for that, in part because the distribution costs. The fact that magazines and newspapers, in order to be mailed, had to have a certain amount of content. As opposed to,
I think it was 25% editorial content for the second-class permit.
Yeah, and that's made a big difference.
When I was at that Columbia meeting last year, a lawyer for I might have been the Atlantic, or I think it was the Atlantic, stood up and said that one of the things they were concerned about was that the current administration was advocating raising the rates for mailing magazines, mailing print media, as a way of crippling the magazine industry, because they saw the magazine industry as being anti the administration and that it was a huge concern.
Yeah, basically, the corruption in DC is so blatant and so open. And basically, nobody with the power to stop it is doing that.
They've also raised the rates significantly on international mailing so that it's much harder to get physical copies of information out.
Right.
as opposed to the online, which has lowered the cost of getting pure information out.
What we're starting to see online is that lots of the things that link you to information sources online, both search engines and social media, are starting to throttle certain types of information. It's harder to find in a search. Things that I used to be able to find very easily in a search 2 years ago, I can't find anymore. You have to dig and dig and dig, and I have to try 2 or 3 different browsers. I mean, if you want to see how crazy online search has become, call up 3 or 4 different browsers, use a couple of different search engines, run the same search. You will get completely different results. And I just find that terrifying.
And going off of that, AI is making that worse.
So
AI is just completely making that. It gets much harder to find things, and you get information that's wrong at the start.
Yeah, AI can be seen as a metaphor for the current zeitgeist, or historically for America itself. Very powerful, very stupid.
Yeah. And someone was talking about setting 2 of the different AIs against each other and then asking them why they were getting different results and getting an incredibly, they got a funny result. The AIs were arguing quite bitterly, which I would enjoy.
Yeah.
So now that we have worked ourselves into a feeling of complete dystopian dismay, we're going to switch and we're going to talk about Clark's book.
Yes.
Which is not about dismay.
No, it's about coping with it.
Yes.
The Viscosity Manifesto is a guide to flowing smoothly through an ultra complex world. And we're going to ask Clark some questions about it. And I'm going to start by asking, so I have read the book. I read it when it came out, 2 years ago, I think?
Year and a half.
Year and a half ago. And I was amazed at the breadth and depth of the information in it. And it's full of citations to other things.
Yes.
Including the utopian vision of Charles Fourier, Solaris by Lem. A lot of stuff that science fiction people are going to know, and some stuff they aren't. Clark, where did you get the idea for doing this?
Oh man, I've been at least thinking about it since 1998. I finally started to work on it a couple years before the pandemic. Came up with a really long, disjointed, going every which way at once rough draft. Then I set that aside. Then in 2024, I went back to it, did a lot of cutting and revising until it became, well, not smooth, but at least a little less rough.
In many ways, it's very similar to something going back to 1975.
Yes, which I mentioned.
Which you mentioned, yes, absolutely. The Illuminatus series by Shea and Wilson, which was an aggregator for conspiracy theories. And yours moves beyond conspiracy theories into reality. Makes it less amusing and more useful.
It's also, I think, kind of therapeutic. Did you intend it to be that way?
Sort of. I intended it to be a way of thinking, a way of living that is beyond just despair and giving up. That's admitting that the chaos is there and then just going through it.
I want to mention a little bit to the audience about the experience of reading Viscosity. What I liked about it is you can open it to just about any page. It's very short chapters.
Yes.
And get a complete thought, a complete theme,
Yeah.
some inspirational things to go look at. And it's like Clark, it's like you're walking people through a thought process about a particular problem. It's
Yes.
each chapter is like untangling a knot, and you only need to work on one knot at a time.
It's not even divided into chapters. Each page ends, each page ends at a paragraph end. And in that sense, it's kind of like the Dadaist book, which was a bunch of loose leaf pages and you could read them in any order. That was a novel. One could read this in any order. There's occasional continuity from one page to the next.
Yeah.
But the ideas flow well in many different ways.
So how long did it, I mean, so you've been working on this since 1998 and you published it in 2025.
Yes.
Did you find that your ideas changed during, it's a very tumultuous time. We went through Trump, we went through COVID. Did your ideas change a lot? Did it focus you?
I found that I didn't change my opinions too much because I'm set in my ways. No, because I had a very, when we say it, I had a very strong point of view, and that point of view remained constant even as the circumstances completely changed. And that's one of the things I'm trying to teach is, as Kipling said, how to keep your mind while all around you are losing theirs.
And blaming it on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in doing this book, you sort of see yourself as a teacher.
Yeah.
Interesting. If you were teaching it as a class, what kind of homework would there be?
Well, some of the books that are sources, and some of the movies that are sources, and just looking around and imagining what you see through this context, through the context that, yes, as I think one of the commentators on the comment thread said, the way out of hell is through its very center.
I also think that one very interesting homework on it could be to say, here is an event. How many different contexts can you look at it from? How many different perspectives can you look at it from? And how different does it look from each of those? How does it change if I start looking at it from the point of view of somebody who watches Fox News all the time? How does it change if I look at it from the point of view of somebody who listens to NPR all the time? Does the watching, listening difference make a difference?
Well, of course, because you're dealing with different skews, different interpretations, different different notions of what's the important part.
Yeah. And your book specifically works on saying what I think is the important part right now may not be the most important part later on.
Right.
As I change what matters to me. This is part of my thing of wanting to make sure that I have different perspectives, different ways of classifying the world. Looking at the world through different lenses makes the world look very different.
It was interesting to me that you referred people to lots of films.
Yes.
Because reference points have really changed in our generations. And Tom and I discovered that when we talk with people in their 20s now, that our reference points are completely anime, that we relate to people through what animes we like, what themes the animes have, because that's where people in their 20s are getting their ideas.
Yeah, I do mention, I think, one anime. Kiki's
one?
Delivery Service.
Yes, you talked about that at length.
Yep. There is currently one called Frieren, which has become an enormous cross-generational reference point. And it's about
Can,
someone who gets to live their life over and doing things differently the second time.
can you spell me the name?
Yes. F-R-E-I-R-E-N.
I think it's IEREN.
Oh, well, hold on.
Okay.
I'll put it in the project.
Beyond Journey's End.
Want it.
Yes.
I will look it up.
It's interesting to me that there are certain talking to people about books doesn't always work anymore because lots of people don't read, which is terrifying.
Yeah, in the revised edition of the book, I'm going to talk about that. Basically, I came of age with boomers telling me that people my age were all illiterates.
Yes, because we read comic books.
Yeah. And so, I've heard the complaints about those kids today since I was a kid. But I do know one middle school teacher who says, no, it's really happening this time. And I go, yeah, but all of social media, or at least most of it, is text-based. So it's not reading itself, it's long-form reading.
Yes. I'm actually discovering that I'm starting to have problems with long-form reading. And because I'm consuming a lot of books through audiobooks.
Yes.
Which I never thought I would do. But as a writer, I find that listening to audiobooks immediately reveals to me how the author wrote the book. I can see the structure all over the place. When I hear it, when I read it, it's like I'm swimming in it. I can't see it. But when the distance of the audiobook, I see it just in chunks. I know exactly what they did. I can see how they constructed their sentences. And I'm still trying to figure out why audio is working so well for me because I didn't think it would. But, in some ways, I think that our generations are very audio based. We are the people who had the iPods. We took our music everywhere with us. We got used to hearing everything.
Even before that, we had Walkmans and things like that, and portable radios. We're the generation that got the amazing music of the 60s and the 70s, which is still being listened to.
When I think back on my life, I actually don't say, oh, this was when I was reading this book. I think this is when we were listening to so-and-so. We were going to this concert. We were dancing to particular music.
Oh yeah, like those oldies shows. So-and-so was in the White House. These were the headlines. And this was on the hit parade.
Oh yeah. Music has, and I'm astonished when I walk into a store that caters to people in their 20s and 30s, a nail salon, whatever. I hear the music of my high school years. They're playing Bonnie Raitt and the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan. And I'm thinking, this is bizarre. It's weird to me that music is still around.
Yes. The people in the comments are talking about Mad Magazine. And one of the things to remember is Mad Magazine did start out as a comic book.
Yes.
For EC Comics.
Clark, did you find that things like Mad Magazine influenced you in writing Miss Media?
Oh, it influenced me basically in every way.
Because they called out hypocrisy all the time, and that's what you're doing in a lot of the book.
Yeah, I describe Mad Magazine as being New York local culture, i.e., people who ate in delis and whose parents spoke Yiddish at the dinner table, calling out New York export culture, the world of media and advertising.
Yeah, and a lot of Hollywood too. A lot of my
Yeah.
friends who grew up in LA really
Mhm.
relate to the Mad magazine.
The movie satires.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All the movies I wasn't allowed to see, I read about in Mad.
Yeah.
So why did Mad magazine die? What is it about our culture that we lost that?
Has it
Oh.
died? Isn't it still going?
I don't think
Sort
so.
of.
There's
Yeah, it is sort of still going, although the issues these days have a lot of reprint material in them.
yeah.
So yeah, basically it's the overall decline in print periodicals. It just got caught up in that. I mean, we've already lost Ladies' Home Journal, Playboy, Gourmet, all those.
And something that will our audience will relate to is that with the decline of this type of print media and magazines, the paying short fiction market and the paying
Yes.
feature journalism market also
Yes.
blew out. This is where
Yeah.
people Harlan Ellison used to be able to sell
Yeah.
stories for thousands of dollars. This doesn't happen anymore.
I remember, I remember the whole lifestyle that was promoted in Writer's Digest magazine of typing up short fiction on a typewriter, sending it out in the U.S. mail to print magazines, hoping they'd buy it.
Yes.
Bob Silverberg talks nostalgically about those days.
Well,
Yes.
and you also look at what Playboy did in terms of creating Illuminatus, giving Frank Robinson a place to go. The whole rise of softcore porn, which was called hardcore at the time, which was completely different from what we have now. Really changed.
I happen to prefer softcore, but
yeah,
that's another topic.
Yes.
Yes, I was in Portland with Tom and discovered a store that does vintage softcore, and Tom was helping me find the books written under pen names by famous science fiction writers that I know. We were finding their porn output, but yes. So
yes, it was a way for people to make a living.
Yeah.
To do that, people, in fact, Silverberg could turn out a book a week, and it allowed him to move from New York to the Bay Area.
So speaking of turning out a book a week, Clark, what is going to happen differently with the second version of Viscosity Manifesto? Is it going to be a reissue? Is there going to be a whole new set of topics?
No, it's going. The text is going to be mostly the same, although I'm going to add a little to it. I'm going to add a few more chapters about things like, about corporate enshittification and corporate fed addiction, and then a short summary about why all this is important right now. But the main thing is the images. There are 90 images in the original book that were originally, AI based.
Oh, okay. Are these AI or is this?
Yes, that is.
That's definitely AI.
Those are all going out because everybody hates AI, and I listen to them.
I wouldn't have known that was AI, but apparently Tom does.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
It looks like woodcut to me. Okay,
What?
I'm clueless.
That was the filter he was using.
Woodcut. Okay.
I don't know if that's the name of it, but
No.
the conceptual filter was connecting to old magazine illustrations, both woodcut and steel engraving, and not an honest pastiche putting bits together like Freddie Bear used to do.
So they're all
Tom,
being replaced.
I was just about to say Freddie Bear. Tom and I sometimes think the same things. Okay. Okay.
Collage, that's the word I was looking for.
Collage. Yes. Okay.
So, yeah, so those are all being replaced. There will be a new cover, and I'm changing the title to simply Viscosity.
So
Okay.
you were ahead of time, Karen, by just referring to Viscosity
Yeah,
Yes.
as
Yes.
opposed to Viscosity Manifesto.
yeah.
So yeah. When the time comes, I want to talk with you about book readings in the Seattle area and setting up readings, because I've been
Oh,
doing
good.
a little bit of that, and I have ideas.
Oh, good.
Yes, because to bring all this back and move towards wrapping some of this up, B Cubed Press does books in a very similar vein to what you're
Mhm.
doing. Ours are
Yeah.
fiction, but also essays.
Yeah.
And very much looking at how people are going to react to what's
Mhm.
going on,
Right.
giving options, looking at what the future may look like. And
Mhm.
not everything, some of what we write is dystopian, but some
Yeah.
of what we write is hopeful and inspiring to people.
Mhm.
So talk to us a little bit, because a number of people who listen to this podcast are writers. Talk about what your experience with designing and publishing it was.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the fifth or sixth book that I've self-published from scratch. There, and yeah, basically, I was an early adopter of Aldous PageMaker, a local product, and so I'm not really a pro, but a decent amateur at page layout software, and then as for the publishing part, I use both Amazon and Ingram for those people who don't want to have anything to do with Amazon.
Well, Ingram is also a great way to have your book orderable by libraries.
Yes.
I've been very happy. I publish with both, and I've been very happy with Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, because I'm one of the B Cubed Press editors. How
Yes.
do you handle things like proofreading if you're doing this?
Oh.
Do you have a proofreader that works with you?
Unfortunately, not regularly. So.
Because I have to say, I find your stuff is pristine, and I always wonder. Bob and I joke that when we're dealing with final manuscripts, that we can just look at a page and create a typo just by looking at the page without even touching it. How do you get yours to come out so clean?
I don't know. Basically, it's a skill I've developed over the decades. Well,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny because there's the phrase, the in-house proofreader. I literally have one. Tom is a professional proofreader, and he saves me all the time.
I'm a talented amateur. I've been paid for it, but I still think of myself as not being as good as people like John Barry.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah.
We all compare ourselves to the people who are better than ourselves rather than the people who are worse.
Yeah.
That's true.
I to get better.
So when your book came out, how do you said you're not good at marketing? You announced it through your newsletter. What else have you done? Have you done ads for it at all?
I have not done paid ads for it. Again, we can talk about that sometime.
But you've done book fairs, haven't you? You did the Fantagraphics book fair. I think that's where I got the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will be doing that again this July.
Yes, I've got that on my calendar. And Ed Vick, who the B Cubed Press audience knows Ed Vick. He worked
Yes.
at Fantagraphics in the U Bookstore, and Ed also does that. And it's reminding me that I have to get Ed to carry my book at the book fair.
And Ed and Karen have been doing some collaborations, which I'm looking forward to having out in print so that people can read them because they're really wonderful.
Yes. Actually, I have to talk with Ed and see if I can get some of the B Cubed books that he has been published in on into the book fair. That would be great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if people want to buy the Viscosity Manifesto, they can buy it. They can get it from a library. They can buy it through probably Barnes and Noble if you're in Ingram.
One of the commenters said they just got it at Bookshop online.
All right.
And Bookshop lets you send some of the money to a local bookstore of your choice, which is great.
Yeah.
Yes. And you should, if you're in Bookshop, you should just look at everything from B Cubed Press, because after all, this is the B Cubed Press Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I could mention other things, but we'll start there.
So I think we should let Bob come back in a moment, because he has a lot of stuff that he wants to talk about. Clark, I want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us. And
well, thanks for having me.
I would like to have you on again to talk about things like comics and Fantagraphics and and the history of all of that. Sometimes we do larger groups, and I think that would really be fun.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. This is really been great.
Thanks for making me get up early.
Speaking of getting up early, Bob is a farmer, and he gets up with the roosters and has probably been up farming all morning. Bob, you want to come back in and talk about B Cubed? We've lost him. There he is.
There he is.
There you are.
Oh, you didn't lose me. The what I like.
Misplaced you.
Sure, I'll talk about it. Hey, and Tom, take a look at this, and you know what this is?
It's an old fanzine of one of the TV shows from the 60s.
Cool.
I think it's flipped.
Do what?
I think
you have to
you're
reverse your
flipped.
camera.
If you reverse your camera.
Mirror.
Oh no. I, the one who warns everybody to mirror their camera, am now guilty.
I think so. I'm not sure. The typeface on it was not.
It looked like it was designed by Vladimir Lenin.
Yes. Toys Ya Us, as we call it.
Oh, it's just an old. Oh, there. Here. Can you read this?
Not unless you put it in front of the camera.
That's reversed. Yes.
Now it's reversed.
Oh, well, I'll fix it later.
Okay. Bob.
So, no, what is B Cube doing? Well, as usual, we're resisting because you guys can see our snowflake with the sword in it. The sword and the snowflake. That came very briefly from Susan McDonald story she wrote about the sword and the stone, where King Arthur rose to protect England. It was Trump's first flight to England, and King Arthur had always said that he would come back when it was necessary to protect the land. And so she wrote a story about it.
But he's not protecting Greenland.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't a Viking.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to protect Greenland. Fundamentally, though, if we're all out of guns and ammo from our Iranian adventures, it could be very depressing if Denmark says no. But you never know. But as Karen said, what we got going on at B Cube right now is I'm doing something that is an editor's dream. I am editing and Nightmare. I'm editing Harry Turtledove. afraid to touch a comma, but touching them nonetheless. And then you get to go from there to David Gerald, to Jim Wright, to Adam Troy Castro. And that is literally the agenda of stories we're getting ready to edit, or finish the editing up on An American Storm, or American Storm, which is a book we're going to have out. And it's a God, I just don't know how to say. I always feel like every book we're working on has got some of the best stories I've ever read in it. And I can still keep saying that because some of these stories are so current, so real, and touch what is turning into. I think, I don't know who was it said it, but they made me think that Karen said it, that our kids these days are listening to some of the same music we listen to.
Mhm.
And we find ourselves looking back as people, and that may just be the age group of those of us who were either baby boomers or whatever that generation Jones that they've titled us, who are too young to be real baby boomers and too old to be Gen Xers. Um, and some of the stories that we've got in here have incredible look backs to different eras with the contrast over the modern era. Eric M. Witchy has written us a story. Has he got an M, right, Karen?
Pardon?
Eric Witchy
Yes.
has, yeah,
He does.
just one of the most brilliant stories I've ever had the opportunity to read. And I will take the Oxford comma with me to my death. And I have no problem with M dashes. They make me laugh.
Yes.
It is if they
I use
took
them all the time.
writers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love
writers.
M dashes.
I don't know. I'm not sure what good punctuation is, but this works everywhere.
Yeah,
So
he'll take
Mhm.
the Oxford comma to his death with his parents, Ayn Rand and God.
I got nothing there. I just know that I find that the M dash confused me at first because I'd never seen it, and then once I saw it and started trying to edit with around it, people had used it. I realized this is Thor's hammer of punctuation. Um, Literally, you can do damn near anything with it, but not everybody can use it. But
Yes.
those who can, woohoo!
Mhm.
Ayn Rand and God. I don't know. I've read that there was a book out there by God that I read that was supposedly by God. It was pretty good, but I've never got so desperate that I've read Ayn Rand. Uh, but somebody here is going to tell me that I need to read her.
No,
Oh,
You can
good.
skip it.
yeah.
But there is a
You've
book.
already got the plot.
Oh, good. Evil wins.
No, Elon Musk wins.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
But Karen reminded me of of a great book by a man who is not great, who dedicated it to a man who is not great, that I can actually recommend reading. You know what that book is? Want to tell us, Karen?
Yes. The Genesis of Justice.
It is a brilliant book. I mean, you can say all you want to about Alan Dershowitz, but he's a very bright man. Uh, uh, Not a good man, but a bright man. The And speaking of I was talking earlier about a book called Uncle Bob Shrugged. I don't know. Listen in next week, because you know what we're doing next week is Bob's Bible Stories, or Sunday School with Bob, whatever you want to call it. See, when I was growing up, ministers would get up there, we'd go to church, we'd have Sunday school, and they would teach us all about the Bible and all the fun stories in it. And then we would come back out and sit in the big room, and they'd sing a few songs, and we'd all go, yeah, as we clapped along. And then the preacher would start talking, and I'd look around for a book to read, and the only one you could really find was the Bible. They did not like us to bring comic books to church.
Oh,
They noticed. Somebody noticed the old blue-nosed, nattering nabobs of negativism that would tell your mother and shush you. They would disrupt the whole church service just to shush one kid. But anyway, I pick up the Bible and read it, and this amazing thing started happening. You know, I read things that we didn't learn in Sunday school. For example, you read all about it in the Old Testament. That's where all the good stuff is. And dang, you know, some general goes off and beats a whole bunch of Canaanites up, comes back and throws his daughter on a burning pile of logs. Oh, I didn't find that. Or you read about Moses, the aftermath of the golden calf.
Yeah.
Not near as cheerful as the Ten Commandments.
Well, there's also all the commandments that didn't make the top 10.
There's other commandments.
There's lots of other commandments.
Love thy brother as thyself.
Thou shalt not eat of the meat of anything that dieth of itself, but thou mayest give it to the stranger within thy gates, or sell it in the marketplace.
Now are those? Is there a difference between the commandments as on the stone? You know, because I know
those didn't make it up to the stone.
Well, they were guys that built clay tablets and stuff, or bricks in northern Egypt, right? You know, and they say if you watch the movie about Moses, they had fellows there that could cut granite with their chisels. So he probably took one of those guys up with him and used the skill set he had, and only had room for so many commandments, and the rest of them were just laws. But yeah, that's the one. You ever want to be entertained? Read I can't remember who wrote it. The one that said, "Hey, if I see my neighbor wearing cotton and polyester together, am I authorized to kill him myself, or do I have to get the whole village together to stone him?" You know, all those fun questions that only arise in the religious world. But that's next week, and I don't want to use up any material that I haven't researched yet, because God forbid I would be wrong. And has that ever happened to you? You don't have a name on your...
None of us do.
You've denamed us somehow.
Oh, my God.
I am what I am.
Well, I just didn't want to... now that you guys have no names... the genesis of justice. It is fascinating. And it's oddly liberal. So, but anyway, as you're going out there, and as Tom said, go out there and buy your books. Be sure you got to buy this book by Mark. There, it's
Clark.
And
Clark.
Huh?
Clark.
That's a lot like Mark without the M dash.
Yeah, well, the book of Mark is... The book of Clark is not one of the books of the Bible.
Oh.
Mark is.
Book of Mark, Matthew, Mark,
Yeah,
Luke,
Matthew,
and
Mark,
John.
Luke, and John. Yeah.
Yeah, and the you could just go all day with that. But anyway, I know that all you folks have things to do, and wait a second. I got it.
Cliff
I
is
got Cliff's gonna have to. That's next month, isn't it, Cliff? But anyway, we'll figure it out.
yes.
I will just thanks for coming, Clark. Thanks for doing this, guys, and all of you guys be well.
We'll see you all
Thank
subsequently.
you all.
Subsequently, and Karen, hang for just a second, if you
We're all
could.
going to hang for a second.